Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have a few suggestions. That's the title, by SlimeBeast.
Yeah, when you sent me that, I was like, because I just read it really quick in passing, because I was gonna like, oh, okay. It's someone's the link to, I'm like, a few suggestions, and I'm like, so what, you're giving me a bunch that I've got to pick from? And I was like, well, whatever, I'm not even going to read through the list. And then later, when I'm actually taking the time to sit down and read it, I'm like, oh.
It's literally a few suggestions.
And I was like, okay, well, you got me there, title.
Yep.
You got me. You tricked me. Now it's my turn.
Yeah. Like we said, it's by SlimeBeast. It is a part of the Abandoned by Disney canon story series. It's a prequel to the series. And you can actually check it out on Creepypasta.wiki, or there's a reading of it by the Glitched 64 Reads. And it's actually a collaboration of a bunch of other creepypasta readers who just take a couple of the suggestions, because this is just a amalgamation of a suggestion box entries.
I assume they all take the suggestions from a single person.
Yeah. Usually, and then they'll follow up, with everyone's that seem to follow up afterward. And it has such voices as Mr. Creepypasta and others that I didn't recognize. Sorry. It is not really a story in the traditional sense, but it's a fragmented narrative, or a collection of suggestions or complaints in a suggestion box that's just been kind of taken and added, just looked through by what is presumably by the Disney park staff. You really kind of have to assume that, though, because it doesn't really tell you anything about Disney, or aside from, I think, a mouse is mentioned.
Yeah,
but that really could be any mascot. But yeah, so without knowing that, you kind of just read these, and it's...
Well, and I mean, if you're reading this without having read Abandoned by Disney, I mean, you're going to be fucking lost.
Yeah.
Aside from, a generic sense of whatever.
Yeah.
If you haven't read it, then you gotta go read Abandoned by Disney first, and then read this. Well, you don't even need to read Room Zero. You just, you gotta read something else before you read this.
Yeah.
And that's really...
Which, I mean, is technically fine, because... nobody's forcing you to read this, but... Well, except for me, to Dr. Leviathan. But we both read Abandoned by Disney and Room Zero already, so this is kind of just a natural progression of it, because this was the next installment after those two. So... like I said, yeah, it's a scattered throughout this series of suggestions is both mundane and progressively creepy events that are going on in this park, and it's all told through these suggestions by the staff. So we have hot dog stand being left by a water slide, and kids are vomiting in the slide, so they're asking for maintenance and stuff. There's vandalism at the South Gate, and that goes on with creepier and creepier things, the people don't feel safe, and then mascots are being taken, worn and brought over there, and the graffiti and whatnot is being done while in a mascot suit. There's some shenanigans with a guy named Frank who's cheats at Sudoku and stuff, and then he ultimately gets murdered in it, and the murderer may or may not be the person leaving the suggestion notes and complaints about Frank. There's issues with the mascots, just stuff about the mascots are sticking to sores on the person, and just creepy little things that quips about that. There's faceless children that are being watched over, and the guy's treating it like It's like, I'm a really tolerant person, but can we stop with these faceless children, like, coming into the, like, daycare area or whatever?
The restricted zone.
The restricted zone, sorry.
Because there's places in every amusement park where guests can't go, and that's where the faceless kids are.
Yeah. And
that's what's pissing him off, not the fact that they're faceless children.
Yeah. And, like, he's even, like, I even tried killing them to dissuade them, and they just get more rowdy. There's a whole section of this where it's just, like, the need for more suggestion cards, because they, I guess, keep going through them, or somebody keeps taking them and jamming them into vending machines or something. There's a common room DVD replacement issue, which, again, just more mundane stuff mixed in with this creepy, like, overarching thing. So, that's really it. Like, there's not...
And my favorite.
Oh.
Fuck you!
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's just, like, random, like, ones where it's just, like, it's half a sentence, and then the sentence is repeated, is carried on to the next suggestion, and then there's ones that are just like, I'm a mouse, and then the next one will be, fuck you! Yeah, so that's really it. Like, it's just an amalgamation of suggestions, which I find it's an interesting idea because it tells this disjointed, like, narrative of this park, and or at least the attitude of the staff, as well as this growing creepiness that is overtaking the park, which falls in line with the whole Abandoned by Disney idea. I don't think, like, even though it's not like a traditional story, I wouldn't say it's a waste of time to read, because it is a fairly short set. Like, you can get it done in, like, under 9 minutes, according to readings of it online. And that's with them doing it, like, more dramatically. That said, the narrative here doesn't explicitly say that it's Disney, so if you have no knowledge of the meta plot that's going on, this would be very confusing to read, and it could really just be any park. It doesn't have to be Disney.
If you stumbled upon this, it wouldn't really piss you off.
It would intrigue you a little bit.
But you'd be like, what the fuck did I just read?
Yeah.
And then,
you'd go on with your day.
Well, and I mean, if you read it on the Creepypasta.wiki, then at the bottom it does, at the top and bottom, it tells you that it is a part of something else. Yeah. And at the bottom, there's actually a link to the next part.
Yeah.
Which would be Abandoned by Disney, I believe. And that's super helpful, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To keep you from going like, what the fuck did I just read?
Yeah.
But other than that,
it's an interesting quick read, though you'd be confused if you didn't read it. And then you just continue on browsing your internet.
And if you read this first, it would just be...
Yeah, like, that's the other thing, yeah. Like,
really out of fucking place.
I was glad that we, like, got to read... I got to read Abandoned by Disney and then Room Zero, even, because I think the faceless ones, or the faceless kids and stuff are in that, with the slide. Yeah. That's another thing about this one, is that it kind of, like, with Room Zero, there was, like, those multiple stories being told about accounts in the Disney park. This one kind of felt like another progression of that, where it was just, like, even more, like, or at least a little, maybe a degradation.
It didn't feel like a progression,
it felt like a
because when you've got Room Zero, you've got a story. Like, you have... escalation, and you have escalation in this one, but like you have more of a narrative.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, you've got like 16 different narratives all crammed together out of
order.
In order, but not in perfect sequence. Like,
like there's suddenly
this one's interrupted by 3 fucking other ones before you get part 2, and then it's interrupted by 8 different other ones, and you're just like, I don't
know.
But that's why I don't see it as a progression.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not natural, because, if anything, we're getting less and less narrative from these.
And just, like, here's the evidence or whatever. Or, like, here's the okay, I don't want to say facts, because that's not really what we're getting either. Although we're seeing a pattern in the degradation.
The hearsay.
Yeah. Exactly. I actually liked the idea. Like, I liked the when I was reading it. I liked when it would start escalating with 1 or 2 suggestions of the same thing, and then it would cut out to another one, and then the next one would be the final end, the final part of that. Like, you'd see, it's like.
I'm not saying it was shit. I'm just saying that it's not a progression. It's regression with your storytelling, because these are less, like, each in the Abandoned by Disney sequence, they just seem to be telling less and less of a story every time.
Yeah, it's
and that's,
Which, I mean, you kind of need more.
Well, yes and no. This is, in my opinion, kind of the creepiest of the bunch because of how it doesn't, or does or doesn't, depending on how you look at it, tell the story. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of empty space, and empty space is filled with the imagination. And, I mean, I don't remember Abandoned by Disney perfectly, but there wasn't a whole lot that was really creepy about that one in my, if my recollection is correct. And Room Zero wasn't really...
There were some, creepy moments, but not, an overarching...
But this one has... Again, I'm not...
It's more like creepy throughout
it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But there is some creepy, because, there is clearly some... Well, I'm going to guess it's the fucking Mickey from Abandoned by Disney.
Yeah.
But, there's something fucking real weird going on, and no one notices.
Yeah. Either they don't notice, or they kind of notice, but they shrug it off, or they just kind of accept it as reality.
Yeah. And that's kind of fun. And my mind immediately goes to okay, so what does this guy do in his fucking what's he doing where he's not writing about in the complaint cards or the suggestion cards?
Yeah.
And that's just a mildly entertaining little fun thing I took from this.
Yeah. Yeah, again, the guy, talking about, seeing all the faceless kids, and then, killing some of them to try and dissuade the other ones, and that, but treating that like it's a completely normal thing, to do, and then... I didn't like that,
no? To be completely honest, because it was just, really? But whatever.
Yeah. Or then, the thing with Frank, where it started off just, it kind of almost humorous. It's Frank's cheating at crosswords. And then
he's cheating at solitaire.
Sorry, solitaire.
Which is a single-player game.
Wow! I totally read over that. Did not realize it was solitaire the first time. Wow.
And then he cheats at Sudoku, which is, again, something
game
that you just do on your own. Maybe you occasionally ask for help, but also I don't really see how you cheat at that myself. But
like I said, it creates a mundane, humorous thing, and then it starts escalating into darker. It's seriously, Frank has to be done with.
We've all worked with that person who complains about stupid shit. If they were to catch you cheating at solitaire, they would fucking complain about it.
Yeah.
They would just be he's a horrible person.
Yeah, it's that guy. God.
And
no one wants to be that guy.
So, I don't know. We've all kind of worked with that jackass.
Yep.
Or several of them if we've been really unfortunate and really unkind in past lives.
I take it you have? For the latter part of it?
No.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Why would anyone lay that on me over and over again? I'm a great individual.
Yeah.
And I'm so nice and tolerant and all of that. But so it starts off like that, and then it's oh, okay, now they're murdering Frank.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's Frank's gone missing, they're looking for Frank, here's some clues. And then, which I find kind of weird, why they just, I guess it makes sense for, to toss, clues in different suggestions. But
it's also to illustrate the fact that, yes, the person writing the suggestions killed Frank.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I couldn't figure out if this guy, or the person that killed Frank, when he started laughing because his face was like mashed potatoes and faceless, like the other faceless people that are looking at him, or looking at them when he started laughing. It's again, kind of connects it to the faceless kid stuff, which I thought was a nice little link to that. But I couldn't figure out if that was something connected, if this was the same guy that was talking about the faceless kids, or it was just another person on the park.
I assumed it was Mickey myself.
Oh, okay.
He seems like the kind of motherfucker who'd kill a guy.
Yeah. Oh, that was another one that actually I kind of liked was it's like, I can't get my head off, I can't get my head off, I can't... Just went down like the thing, and then like the next suggestion's like, ignore that last one, that was my actual head. It's like one of the mascot people have going too far down the rabbit hole, or the mouse hole.
Or it was the Mickey.
Or it was the Mickey. And then by the end, like, we get some... Not resolution, but we get, like, a nice little creepy thing where he's like, there's no... like, the mascot suits are heavy with these bodies in them. And there's one more mascot than there should be in the park. There's not a hook for me. So I just liked that. Like, it was... it was a nice creepy end to that, a little bit.
Well, and... Yeah, I mean, that's what it is.
Yep.
That there is an extra guy and he's fucking with everything. Yeah, I don't know.
There is a plot in here, but it's more of a meta plot because if you're reading this and you're aware of Abandoned by Disney, you're expecting this weirdness to kind of start bubbling up.
Yeah, for me it was, I don't know, it wasn't really a plot, it was really just kind of a restatement of things we've already gotten about the whole Abandoned by Disney thing. That's me.
Yeah. It does kind of give nods or, it takes events from the previous stories.
Or fucking hammers you in the face with shit from the other stories.
Yeah. I was surprised, I thought there was going to be something to do with the slide, because it was previously, it was mentioned right at the beginning of it with the water slide and the hot dog stand, but that really ended up just turning out to be one of the more mundane complaints of the park. But yeah, no, it's, I enjoyed reading this one, even if it was kind of disjointed and you kind of have to know, or like the Abandoned by Disney, in order to really kind of get the full...
In order to get everything out of it.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're not fluent with the Abandoned by Disney thing or even know about it, it's kind of got a conjointed or a disconjointed creepiness to it because you're not, or an out of context creepiness to it because you're like, what the fuck am I reading?
Well,
and there are some creepy things that escalate in this that would be kind of creepy if you just stumbled upon this on the internet and actually took the time to read a bunch of suggestions from the suggestion box.
I don't really find it overly creepy. It's more, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's, overbearingly creepy. When I say that, I just mean it's, like creepypasta levels of creepy, which kind of range from kind of creepy to...
Not even creepy?
Not even. Yeah. It would really just depend on, the situation of you reading it. If you were... alone in a dark room reading this, it might get creepier or kind of thing.
I don't see that happening. If I was reading them out of a suggestion box at a place where I worked, maybe that
would be kind of fucking creepy. Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, Clyde, you got me again.
It's what the fuck? Oh, I haven't seen Frank in a couple of shifts. I was kind of a jerk anyway.
Yeah, fucking me. Cheats at Sudoku.
And then you turns out you're that guy.
Why do you always assume I'm the murderer?
I don't know, Dr. Leviathan. The pile of corpses in your backyard? No. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of just grasping at straws at this point because we've kind of given our we've kind of given our piece about this. Yeah, it's a fairly short read. I would recommend it. Just because I did enjoy it enough that it didn't bug me. And I feel that you could read this, actually, without reading the Abandoned by Disney at first anyway. You might want to start reading the Abandoned by Disney series after reading this.
See, I would only recommend this if you like the Abandoned by Disney stuff. Because that's really the only way to get everything that's in this out of it. And... only if you like it. If you're meh about the Abandoned by Disney stuff, like I kind of am, then you're gonna be meh about this, so why pile on the meh? But if you like it, you'll like this. It's basically just, a big long list of fucking nods to the other shit.
Yeah.
And, I mean, everyone likes their Easter eggs, so this is basically just
it's
a list of fucking Easter eggs.
Yeah. I mean, it's also really cool because it's...
And it's fine as that, but...
Well, I mean,
it doesn't really give you any more information than you already had.
True.
Except really that Mickey likes to fuck with suggestion cards or suggestion boxes.
Yeah.
And is that really enough information to warrant reading a new thing?
I don't know. I do. I think it is. I just like the idea of it being like it's being told from from the staff's point of view, and kind of how deep they're in this whole mess. Because sometimes they don't even realize that what's happening is not really like right naturally. So it's like a victim stuck in some kind of horrible supernatural mess.
I don't know. I almost feel like this could have been tacked into Room Zero.
Yeah, I could see that.
That would have been actually really good.
Yeah.
Whereas Separated...
It kind of... Yeah, like, Separated, it creates... It's an interesting little... Okay, semi-creepy, like, out-of-context thing. But if you were to toss this into Room Zero, yeah, I could see this being like... Or maybe at the beginning and then start elaborating on some of those stories like they do in Room Zero.
Yeah, because by having this now, we already have basically as much of the story as we're probably likely going to get.
Yeah.
So, that's that. And this is just like...
More or
little
less
bits
Room
of
Zero.
flavor of it.
Yeah.
And it would have been... It could have been a fair bit more interesting to have this as your tease at the start of Room Zero, and then Room Zero, like, basically gives you,
the more context to it, because it's actually talking about the Disney park, where, again, in this one, aside from the mention of the mouse... We're not really told that this is Disney World.
Which it could have been fucking Mighty Mouse, Speedy Gonzales.
It could have been any mouse mascot, because God knows there's so many mascots out there.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, exactly. It could have been Chuck. Oh my God, that would be horrifying. It's like...
Well, it's horrifying if it's any child plays mascot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's... I don't know, for me, this is largely unnecessary, and... would have done better in a different place.
Yeah, like being added to...
So for me, that's just kind of a no vote for me. I mean, again, if you like Abandoned by Disney, you're going to like this, because it's fucking nods to what you already like.
But for you, it wasn't really... It didn't do anything as a standalone.
For me, it was largely unnecessary. It was enjoyable and well written, but I just didn't...
That was
that's but
like, I mean, it didn't feel like I know
it was a fine
issues.
read.
Yeah,
like, and it was well written. It just like when I think about it, I just like fuck. This is unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, like you just mentioned. Like I find that we've had ones in the past where they've done this, where it's like a forum post series and a series of different users, and it kind of feels like the same person reading or writing it. This one didn't feel 100% like it was the same guy writing each suggestion box. Like, it did feel at least random enough that they were different people writing suggestions into it.
Yeah, there was actually some effort put into that.
Yeah, like it felt like there was actually some thought put into like making them seem separate.
Yeah,
so
as though SlimeBeast knew who was writing each card and had like at least a bit of a basic personality for them.
Yeah.
I will give it that, but yeah.
Alright. Well, Dr. Leviathan, you'll be happy to know that this is the second last thing for Abandoned by Disney until the end.
The last, gotcha.
No. We still got one more, and that's it of the series.
Nothing.
Unless SlimeBeast decides to make a fifth entry into his series. But, so stay tuned. And so that is our episode for tonight. Kind of a mix between recommend and conditional recommend.
Yeah.
So, that has been the show. So if you would like to leave a comment in the comment section below, or wherever this gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr.
Skywriting.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be a feat. I would love to see that pop up on our Facebook page. Have a photo of somebody of a skywriting of it. Also, I'd be kind of creeped out if it was in our area.
You understand that would mean that it has to be skywritten.
Yeah, that somebody would have to have paid a little bit of money, or a lot of money, to get somebody to skywrite.
Yeah, I've never actually looked into the cost, but I'm guessing for a transcription of
Oh my god.
this little podcast, and this is probably a short one,
Yeah.
that'd still be quite the pretty penny.
Yeah. Which, if you want to support us, like, financially, you can go to the...
We are not going to waste the money on skywriting.
No. So you can also send us messages on Twitter at Dr. Leviathan or Review Cultist. I'm on there almost every day. We're on iTunes, so leave us a review. That would be awesome. It helps us out. It tells us how we're doing and bumps us up on their boards. And you can also check us out on crazonstudios.tumblr.com, where you can check out all the title cards for each episode and direct links to the audio files, as well as donate. We have a little donate button on the side of the Tumblr, so if you feel like supporting us, that would be a way to do it. You can also send us an email at eldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. We always look forward to any kind of email replies or just comments of goodwill, or bad, actually. We're starting to kind of worry. So until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
No, I'm still Dr. Leviathan.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.